back in Heroes and Generals. Last time I did a overview of my Germans. Not much has changed ever since then. All I did was bought the Car 98 for this guy and put a model 1934 on him. That's all I've really done since then. But now I get to do an overview on the U.S. So the U.S. is probably my second most played faction after Germany. You can probably tell by the amount of guns that I've bought compared to Russia that it's my second most played faction. So let's go ahead and get started with Earl Johnson, my rank 13 First Lieutenant infantry. He's got a slightly modded Thompson with just the ammo. I am eventually going to buy a marksman trigger job and light and bolt, and then that'll be all that I put on there. Might rename it something. First aid kit and wrench, just in case that I'm in a battle where our team is basically all tanks, and as long as they're able to hold down a point, I might be able to come help repair them with that. And of course a first aid kit for myself, and I always use combat medic for this guy. That way I don't have to burn 30,000 extra credits on a medic pouch, which eventually I will do that, just so I can that way I can have a different badge on. Sometimes I like to use my M1 Grand on him, just match him 72. Sometimes I'll use a scope, though these new scopes, I don't really think they're worth it a lot of the time. So sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't, and of course a scout too. I have both pistols bought and all this different stuff. Anyways, on to my next guy, my tanker. I need to come up with better names than these guys. He's just got he's kind of got the starter tanks for every type of tank except for the M18. I need to eventually get the Pershing, and I want to get the Chaffee. I do have the Lee, I just don't like the Lee at all, so eventually I'm going to buy the Easy 8. And the M36, I'm not a really big fan of it, so I'll probably leave it there. And the M10 is okay, it's just I like the speed of the M18 and the 50 cal on top, so I use this one instead. I have the APCR and HE for my Stuart. I just have AP for my Jumbo. I have AP and APCR for my Hellcat, and for this little guy I've got the AP and then the regular factory ammo. And this is basically my tank where if I'm going into a battle and the enemy basically has no tanks whatsoever, I'll pull out this little guy. If it has light tanks in the battle, I'll just pull out this little guy and mow down infantry. And if that doesn't work, then I'll just pull out my Stuart and spam HE. Anyways, back onto my Rambo. My, the build that everyone hates except for the people using them. I eventually do want to buy a 1911 for this guy, but right now I'm stuck with a 1903. Just slightly modded, field adjusted trigger, and UDR ammo. But same thing with my Thompson. I'm eventually going to mod this thing for RPMs, which 361, 370. I could buy this right now, but I don't really feel like burning my credits on it. Of course, the bazooka and stickies. I do eventually want to buy the M18 recoilless. But anyways, on to my next one. This is Kappa, and he is the first paratrooper that I bought for the U.S. He isn't the first paratrooper I ever had for the U.S. though. This guy, both of these guys still have career options since I had them before they had that update that took this away. So this guy, I don't know if you can tell, but right here is my M1A1 carbine from back when this guy used to be a paratrooper. And I believe I still have some of the, yeah, I still have free fall and paratraining silver on this guy. So I used him as a para quite a bit. But I like to use the grease gun on this guy just because I'll normally jump into an enemy objective and try to clear houses, and this thing is not too good for that unless you mod it for RPMs, which I haven't yet. But until I get the money to do so, I'm going to be using grease gun. Next is Remington, my pilot. Not much to say about him. I haven't been going over badges, but he doesn't even have a badge. Got AP armor piercing on the owl, and I eventually am gonna get high explosive. That will be handy. He has no other planes, literally just this, and no weapons, not even a wrench. Next, all really just from here down is just random infantry that I bought. So we got Tom Selleck, and he was a guy that I really just used back in encounters. This was like my encounter grinder, where I was just grinding credits through like Culmore Hamlet or however you say that in the depot, and I just run in there with a grease gun. Private Jackson is my dedicated recon. He only has match and a scope for his 1903. Not really much to say about this guy. I do want to buy this fine duplex scope though, and I don't plan on buying any triggers or any kind of things like light and springs and stuff. I'm just gonna buy the heavy bolt. One, so I can make it one hit kill, and two, because I don't see a reason in making it bolt faster. Like, maybe if you're charging in to an objective as a recon, but that's not what you're supposed to do. So all that's gonna do it, the way that I'll be using a recon is just making this circle wider. So I won't be using any of those. Camos, I'll probably get carbon black just because that looks so good. Next up is Pinhead. Pinhead is probably going to be my dedicated rifleman. He's probably going to have a OHK 1903 once I actually take the time out of my day to actually grind him up to that, which will probably be in like a few years. That's really all about him. Next is the Red-Eyed Jedi. He also, like basically all these guys, have just been random infantry that I bought for no apparent reason. He'll probably be like my dedicated medic, maybe. And that's, I mean, really all I can think of doing with him. I do need to get a dedicated MG guy, which is probably going to be Tom Selleck. That might be nice, just because this guy was made to go. I bought him with the purpose. Why do I have scavenger with 210? Okay, but I bought him for the purpose of just running into objectives and clearing them out with a grease gun. So I'll probably end up making him my MG guy, which I'll probably end up buying the Johnson. I do like the 1919 A6, but there's just something about the Johnson that's just deep down in my heart. So I'll probably end up buying it. But yeah, I mean that's basically about everything. I could go over badges real quick and vehicles. So we got combat medic on this guy. My tanker, of course, has gunner. This guy has grenadier, so I can get more damage off on those tanks. Well, actually, no, that's not the right badge. Hold on. Let me change this real quick. Is it grenade? Dynamite lever, yeah, where you start with more. Yeah, so he has dynamite lever. This guy, of course, has free fall. No badge on my pilot. Scavenger, I don't understand why I have scavenger. Let me change that real quick and just start with that, maybe. Fast reload. I have Marathon Man on this guy since he has no vehicles, so I'm able to run a little bit longer. First blood on this guy, and probably first blood on this guy. I don't even have first blood on him. Vehicles. This guy, I've got the cargo truck, the Jeep, or the Yeep, and the Harley. I do really want to buy the Weasel though. The Weasel is like the best thing since sliced bread. Of course, I've gone over my tanks on him. He just has a Jeep with the ammo crate on it. That way I can waste away credits with bazookas and stickies all day and make me go broke. And that's all my vehicles. From this guy down, none of them have vehicles. So yeah, that just shows you how much I waste my credits on stuff. But anyways, I guess that's about it for my U.S. guys. None of them got camos, so there's nothing to go over there. This guy has a command point, but I've joined as Germany, so there's not really a reason. So yeah, I guess that's about it for these guys. So I believe the next one I'll be making is for my Soviets. So hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Yeah.